there when there was the likes of Smith and Holdsworth in the halves with Patton at fullback that year. Their attack was really good. The structures were good, but the players knew how to play with each other well. And then big part of Saints turnaround. I suppose he was there in the trudging Kieran Cunningham years as well, but he was part of the explosion under Holbrook of that attack too.
Yeah, we will see.
Staying on St Helens, or more St Helens related stuff, Toulouse Olympique have completed the signing of St Helens forward Joseph Paulo. League Express revealed the Samoa International, we should say Samoa and USA International, has put pen to paper on a deal with the French side after reaching a settlement with the Super League champions. The 32-year-old was under contract with Saints next year, but has come to terms on his release from the club after struggling to make his way into Christian Wolff's plans. I think this week's games was the first time he's featured in the Super League since the lockdown, so what do you think?
Well, that statement in of itself tells you that he's he's probably not even he might be third choice. And at 32, you're not getting any younger eyes, so it makes sense from his point of view. Going into a kind of a top level kind of championship team. No doubt he'll probably, I guess. So yeah, it makes sense from his point of view, and probably from Toulouse and St Helens.
Quite the squad that Toulouse have got for next year, though. Now, Al, what do you think? A big assault. They're almost a Super League ready side almost now. They're very old, I think, with some of the signings they've made, so it wouldn't be a long-term Super League squad, but they're almost a Super League ready squad, aren't they?
Yeah, they're definitely ready to win now, aren't they? It looks like they're to get it done next year. And they started off very well this year before all things came to a halt. So there's no reason from my point of view to think that Toulouse won't be the best team in the championship next year.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's just have on Huddersfield Giants Academy winger Travis Corrion. The winger joins the club after
got one more injury story to talk about from Super League, Al, before we go on the championship.
Go on.
Sorry, it came in today that Hull say they will honour their offer of a new contract to fullback Jamie Shaw after he was ruled out for a lengthy spell with a major knee injury. The Black and Whites confirmed the 28-year-old who scored 100 tries in 176 games for his hometown club ruptured his ACL during last week's 48-6 Super League victory over Cass and will undergo surgery in the coming weeks. Shaw, who will miss the rest of this season, could also be out for much of next year's campaign. He was out of contract at the end of the season, but Hull had already made him an offer. Really good of Hull to stick by him, considering he's going to be limited in how much he can offer on the field. But more to the point, this is a bad injury for Jamie Shaw.
Yeah. Anything ACL related is serious. And I think the timescale's probably about right, isn't it? We all know how long it can take to come back from that kind of injury. So, yeah,
it would have been a season ender. It probably makes sense in the season, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think any Hull fan doesn't see him as their long-term option at fullback, do they? So it kind of makes sense, and I still feel he's young enough. I don't know how old he is. But
28.
28. I thought he was younger than that, to be honest.
He still gets votes almost every year in the Young Player of the Year award, even though he's never been eligible for it ever since this show existed.
See, it's because he's still stupid enough to go and dye his hair blonde, isn't it? He's still got that youthful exuberance. But yeah, no, on a serious point, wish him well. Obviously, a serious injury, and you want him to recover from that as soon as he can. Yeah,
it might give Jake Connor a chance to consistently play at the fullback position, and that could then open up a conversation when Shaw is fit again. But for now, all the best to Jamie Shaw in his recovery.
Yep. So, Sheffield Eagles have signed former Huddersfield Giants academy winger Travis Corrion. Winger joins the club after a spell with the Giants, having played in their reserve grade side.
The half-brother of the Australian Morris Twins has signed for Championship side Whitehaven. 22-year-old winger Dylan Morris, related to Sydney Roosters duo Brett and Josh, will join the Cumbrian club next year.
It sounds like a slightly dodgy. I'm sure it's legit, but when you hear about brothers or half brothers, it always sounds slightly dodgy.
Yeah, basically, some agents thought it's got the same surname. I can blag this. Whitehaven aren't going to do the admin.
We will see, because they do have quite a distinctive look about them. So we'll see whether it's
the pictures I've seen. He does look like he could be related. But I've been thinking of offering of starting up a service, which is kind of like a Who Do You Think You Are for rugby league. So I'll do like genealogy stuff for rugby league players. It's not going to go anywhere, but it just occurred to me as something to do.
Well, whatever floats your boat, mate, in these challenging times.
Yeah.
Sheffield signed centre or back rower Chris Ball on a 1-year contract. Ball came through the academy at the London Broncos and made the switch to the Eagles while studying at Coventry University.
Ellis Gillam is the latest player to commit to Whitehaven for the 2021 season. He'll be joining the half brother of the Morrises on a 1-year contract. Ball came through Gillam, the 23-year-old, came through the ranks at Warrington and scored 8 tries in 37 appearances with the Cumbrian club so far.
Oldham have added Wigan youngster Max Roberts to their squad for next year. 19-year-old joins teammate Ben Holcroft at the Championship outfit.
Bradford have promoted Sam Smith from their reserves to the first team for the 2021 campaign. The 21-year-old joins fellow reserve teammates Matty Race, Cameron Berry and Bradley Ho. I think this is made up. I think every week now the Love Rugby League are throwing one random story in just to say, is Mark even going to check it when he reads out our news verbatim? But I do give him credit, so they can't be too mad at me. But yeah, Sam Smith, isn't he a singer?
I was going to say maybe his singing career's taken a downturn, but yes. Anyway,
I don't know any of his songs, so I can't make a joke.
No,
it's a shame.
No, honestly, the only thing I know about them is that they're quite picky about their pronoun choice. That's the only thing I know about Sam Smith. Sheffield have signed utility back Jack Render from Featherstone on a 1-year contract. Render joins the Eagles after 2 years at Rovers, where he made 22 appearances last year.
Swinton have signed St Helens youngster Paul Nash ahead of the 2021 campaign. The 20-year-old hooker has previously played for England Youth and joined Saints Academy when he was 15. And also, Swinton have signed young forward Jordan Brown from Widnes for 2021. The 20-year-old came through the academy at Warrington prior to going to Widnes. And Bradford have announced another Smith. Murphy Smith is the latest player from their reserves to become part of their first team in 2021. The 19-year-old had come through the club's scholarship and academy system.
Okay. Workington's all-time greatest point scorer Cal Forber has re-signed with the club for next year. He's been with the club for over 10 years.
Yeah, Cal Forber joined the club when Blackpool Panthers went to the wall. He had a couple of years at Blackpool Panthers, but he's quite the relaxed goal-kicking player. In Cal Forber is with plenty of points. Workington have also announced the signing of Brad Holroyd from Lee on a 1-year deal. He made his debut for the Centurions in the 1895 Cup last year, and also featured for Rochdale on loan this year.
Ryan Dixon, 27, has signed a new deal with Doncaster for next year. That'll be his 3rd season with the club, having signed there in 2019.
North Wales Crusaders have signed St Helens Academy graduate Cam Brown for 2021 League One campaign.
More Workington news. They've re-signed utility forward Adam Ramsden for the next 2 seasons. Ramsden joined town last year from the Wathbrow Hornets after several years in the community game.
Doncaster back row Adam Aaron Ollett Hobson, he's got married since he was last in the news, has agreed to stay at the club next season. The 27-year-old has spent time at Hull KR and Newcastle Thunder before linking up with the Dons last year. And Keighley today have announced the signing of Wellington Albert from Leeds for the 2021 season on a one-year deal. I genuinely assumed Albert had gone back to PNG.
He was hiding in Keighley all along.
There you go. Yeah, it's another signing though for Keighley. They've got quite the stockpile for next year.
Yes, they certainly have. In not so good news, Rochdale Hornets player has been banned for 4 years after failing a drugs test. Andrew Lee has been handed the suspension after sample found traces of anabolic steroids, dostranolone and trenbolone. They were found in the urine sample provided at the Hornets training session in January. Lee admitted taking a product called TTM, which contained the two substances. He said he'd taken the product to improve his physical appearance. Fair enough. As a result, he's been banned until January the 8th, 2024.
Yeah, I mean, check the labels of stuff you get given in the gym, mate. You know, don't just think, oh, it's going to make me look sexy. Think, is it going to stop me playing rugby league?
Which it has.
Yeah. 4 years as well. That, you know, it's significant, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they don't mess around with steroids, do they? You know, their effects are long-lasting and obviously easily traceable, as he's found out. So, yeah.
And even if he didn't know that there were banned substances within the product he was taking, he knew he was taking a supplement that no one had prescribed to him, that his club doctors hadn't, or club medics hadn't approved. And that it was something to make him look better. He knew he was taking steroids.
Yeah, of course he did, yeah.
No two ways about it.
Yeah. He definitely goes in the stupid boy category.
Hugely so.
Yeah.
And finally, not in the stupid boy category, but definitely in the poor lad category, a rugby league fan travelled...
Poor lad.
Yeah, he's a poor lad. He travelled to France for a rare chance to watch his team, only for the match to be cancelled. Lewis Bell, 24, who has been a fan of Hull FC since he was a baby in arms, is the quote, had gone to see his side face Catalan Dragons in Perpignan, but Thursday's fixture was postponed after 5 Dragons players and 2 staff tested positive for COVID-19. Mr. Bell, who's back in England and self-isolating, said he would do it all again. Mr. Bell and his mother flew to Spain on Tuesday before crossing the French border, and they had planned to stay until the weekend before the game was cancelled. I was in my hotel room when I found out. He said, continuing, we'd just been looking around Perpignan's museums that morning and we were relaxing before we went out to eat later on, and then I started getting messages on my phone every 30 seconds. Despite only being there for 2 days, I did enjoy the trip to Perpignan. I would do it all again, 100%. The locals were lovely and knew why I was there. A limited number of fans had been allowed to attend rugby league games in France, and Mr. Bell had filled in 2 COVID declaration forms, had a negative test before getting on the plane from England. To get home, he had to fly from Barcelona to Ibiza, then on to Manchester before returning to Hull and having to go into isolation. What a poor fella. Basically 2 days of flying around Spain to go to some museums.
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk about the museums in Perpignan. I'm sure they're very nice, but not quite what he was looking for.
No, it shows his, commitment and dedication to kind of break government guidance on essentials overseas travel only. But he'll have felt this was essential, and every credit for him to him for trying. And it's a real shame that it didn't come off for him, because he's suffering the consequences of it as if it didn't happen.
Yeah, it leads me to think about what I don't know is like how you get a ticket for within the allocation. Presume he would have done that already.
They do.
Do you know what I mean?
They do offer an allocation to the other clubs, but I don't know how people kind of take up that allocation. They must have to make special emails to the clubs to say, look, I've got my travel in place, I'm going. Because there was the one Hull KR fan there when they played. There was a couple of Wigan fans there as well.